Hey guys, in this video we will be having an introduction to the section rendering API. For example, let's see we have this three variants on this product page, and we also have this expected delivery time, and we need to change this expected delivery time based upon the variant selected. So you can see that I have created the metafields for the variant. Every variant has this delivery time metafield, and you can see that this is the product right now, red, black and white. And if we look, this variant has the metafield delivery time 3 to 5 weeks. And if we go to the next variant, this has 2 to 4 weeks. And similarly, the third variant has this 1 to 3 weeks. So we need to update this information based upon the variant selected on the PD. Currently we are using the DOM theme, and let's see how we can do this. So for now, I have just rendered this metafield product selected or first available variant, metafields, delivery time above the buy buttons. I have rendered this information above the buy buttons. So whenever we land on the page, it shows the information based upon the selected variant or the first available variant. If the variant is selected, means that if we have some of the ID in the URL, then this information will be shown based upon that variant. Otherwise, it will select the first available variant. So for now, let's remove this variant ID and refresh the page. You can see that we are getting the expected delivery 3 to 5 weeks. And even if we change the variants, this information is not updating. We need to achieve this by using this section rendering API. So to achieve this, we need three things basically. First of all, we need to have the product URL. That is already we have, because we were working on the product page. We will be having the access to the product URL, and after that we need to have the variant ID. So whenever we change the variant, we need to have the variant ID. And the third piece is that we need to have the section that we need to render using the section rendering API. So let's see, in this section we will be having the information that we need to update based upon the product URL and the variant ID. Okay, now let's create a function. Let's create a section that will have this information, and I will name this function expected delivery dot liquid. And in this information we don't need the schema, we only need the information that we need to update. So I will just because we only need to have the delivery time of the first available or the selected variant, we will just paste it right here. We only need to have this information. So let's see, we can make a request to this URL. The product URL has the product URL, variant ID and the section ID. These two are the query parameters, variant and the section ID. And if we make the request to this URL, you can see that we have the product URL, variant ID, and now if we add the query parameters of the section ID, you can see that we have the expected delivery section available in our code. And if we press enter, you can see that we are getting the information that we added in this section. We can get any kind of information and any kind of HTML structure by updating this section. And whenever we will make the request to this section, give the information based upon the variant ID right away. So let's see, we can also get the variant featured image like this. If we refresh the page, you can see that we are getting the image, and whenever we change the variant on the product page, you can see the variant ID is updating. This is by default in the DOM theme. So let's get the variant ID of this white product right here and refresh the page. You can see that the image is also updated based upon the variant ID, and this metafield information is also updated based upon the variant ID. So we just need the variant ID, product URL, and the section that we need to get the information, the desired information. Okay, if we inspect the code, you can see that we are getting actually the Shopify section, expected delivery, and here we have the same information that we rendered right here. And we have the metafield information and the image. We can make the desired HTML structure based upon the need. We can wrap this into the p tag, and we can wrap this into a div tag, and also we can have the span to get the variant SKU. So it means that we can do anything in this section and it will be updated accordingly. You can see that we have the updated DOM structure, DOM elements, p tag, span tag, and the div tag. Whenever the variant changes, we will copy these elements and update on the page according to our needs. So let's see, there were three parts: product URL, variant ID, and the section ID. We have created the section, and we need to get this information, like this information we need to keep the same right here. We need to get this information based on the variant ID, and now we only need to get the variant ID whenever the variant change, and after that we will be able to make a request like this. And when we make the request to this URL, we will be getting data of this section, and we will paste the same data right here whenever the variant changes. And you can see that I have updated the section data according to our desires. And if we refresh the page, you can see that we have getting the same similar text that we need. And now we only need to get the variant ID whenever the variant changes. So how we can do this? Let's inspect the swatch. You will be able to get this by looking into the event listeners. If we inspect this element and go to the event listeners, you can see that currently this element don't have the event listeners. If this element don't have the event listener, we can check its parent. To go to this parent, we can press the left arrow key. Okay, left arrow key. After clicking on this element, we just need to press the left arrow key, and we are going to its parent. And its parent don't have the event listener right here. One more thing to note, that in the event listener we need to uncheck this ancestors check mark right from here. And if we press the left arrow key in the you can see that the variant selects has this event listener that is present in the global.js. That is the change event listener. Let's see what it does. If we go to the global.js, you can see that whenever we get the change event in the variant selects, this function is executed. So we can read the code line by line by adding the debugger point right here, and whenever we change the variant, our code stops right here. Okay, to go to the next line, you can press this button, and if you need to get the value of some variable, you can hover over that variable, and also you can log that into the console. To open the console, you can, I have already opened this. If you are not able to see the console like this, you can just press escape, and if you press escape, it will be hidden again. Let's press escape. You can see that we have the console right here. We can add the target, and actually it is showing the same variable right here. So this function is just update, the update selection metadata is just updating the information of this variant selects right here. Because we have just selected the black variant, it will update the body color to black right here. If you need to read this code, you need to step into this function, and here you can go line by line by stepping over the next function call. And here you can see that is getting the selected swatch value. We can paste it right here. Selected swatch value is this span, and that is updating the inner HTML of this selected swatch value. We can see the value, what is present in the value. If we hover over the value, you can see that the value has the black text. So if we execute this line, you will be able to see the black text right here. So if we press the next button, you can see the black is updated right here. And this function was just updating the selection metadata, means that it was just updating the selected color right here. And now you can see that we have also an event is published from this function. So if an event is published from one location, it will be definitely subscribed to other location. So to check the other location, we just need to copy this function, and let's search for this function into whole code. You can search for this function. I have just pasted it right here and press enter. You can see that this function is present in 2 locations. Actually it is showing the 4 files, because global.js, this is the same file actually, and productinfo.js and productinfo.js, this is the same file. So you can see that it is published from the global.js, and it is subscribed into productinfo.js. It is subscribed right here, and whenever this event is triggered, this function is executed. Handle option value change. If we search for this into the same file, you can see that this is the global search in the code, and this search panel is for the same file that we are currently present in. We can search for this function, and here you can see that we have this function. We can add a debugger point right here, and the press resume button. You can see that our code is now stopped in this location. And if we press the step over next function call this next button, you can see that we are now on the next button. So based upon the variant change, this function is actually rendering the product information onto the page. So here we have the product URL, and also it is updating the product information based upon the variant change. So let's see what this function does. We can copy this function and search in the same file, and you can see that this function is actually making a request, and after that it is getting some response, and from the response text it is actually parsing the HTML, and HTML is then passed to the callback function. So we can add a debugger point right here and press resume. So you can see that now function is stopped right here. So if we go to the console from here, we can see what we actually get into the HTML right here. The main purpose why we are doing is that we just need to get the updated variant ID. we need to get the variant ID. So because the whole information on the page is updated whenever we change the variant, so the newly updated variant ID will be also present in the newly fetched HTML. So in the HTML, you can see that we are getting this function, this section. So if we copy this section and search for this function in the elements panel, you can see that this is the same, this is the area that is fetched based upon the newly selected variant. So whenever we change the variant, variant ID is updated into the product form. So whenever we add the product into the cart, it into the cart. So let me show you what I mean. If we look into this has the form, add to cart form, and this form has the hidden input name as ID, and every product form has this value. So you can see that this ID and this ID is actually matching. This ID and this ID is actually matching. So whenever we change the variant ID is updated right here. So you can see that we are able to get the newly fetched HTML based upon the variant change, and so from here we can get the updated variant ID. So this was the main purpose, to debug code like this. So from here we can get the variant ID. So if we product form buttons, actually we can make a query selector, document dot query selector. In the product form we need to get the ID. Product form, in the product form we need to get the we need to get the input having the name equal to ID. You can see that it is the product variant ID class, and from here we can get the value. So it is just showing the exact same variant ID right here, and this is actually we have fetched the variant ID from the existing product form. So in the sources panel you can see that we have the updated HTML, and from the updated HTML we can also get the updated variant ID. So what we can do this, we can make a query selector on the updated HTML. In the we have the new updated HTML, and on the HTML we can see that we have made the query selector on the updated HTML, and from here we are able to get the updated variant ID. This was the main purpose to debug the code. So now we can see, you can see that we have the product URL, variant ID, and the section ID. So we will be able to make the call to get the data based upon the variant change. Okay, let's see. This callback function will update the DOM. We just need this location, and from here I have made the global search. You can see that, and from here you can see that we can get the variant ID like this. We can get the variant ID like this, const variant ID, and from here we will be dispatching a new event on the document.dispatch event, new custom event, variant updated, and from here, okay, we just need to dispatch this event, and after that we need to pass the detail. In the detail we need to pass the variant ID. So this is actually getting the variant ID and dispatching this event. We can subscribe to this event in any of the location of the theme, and we will be able to get the updated variant ID. So let's see. Now we have the variant ID like this. Hmm. We can also have the product URL. Let's see what we get in the request URL. Okay, request URL is not defined. Okay, let's debug it again. We have already added the debugger point into the product information. You can see that in the sources panel, we have threads, watch point, and breakpoints. In the breakpoints, you can see that one breakpoint is present in the global.js and other is present in the product info.js. We can also make the debugger point right here, and you can see that the fetch request has also the debugger point. It is showing the product info.js has three debugger points. One is present on the 64 number line, other is on the 120 line, and other is present on the 125 line. So let's currently you can see that in the call stack we are on this function. If we press play, you can see that we are here right now, and if we press again, you can see we are now right here, and we can get the request URL. Request URL is actually this one. Okay, so all right, so now we just need to make a fetch request to product URL, variant ID, and the section ID to get the information based upon the newly updated variant ID. Okay, let's see how we can do this. I will remove the debugger points right from here, and you can see that we have dispatched this event with the variant ID. We can subscribe to this event in the product page. In the main product, we can create a new script. So if we go at the bottom of the product information right here, and we can make a new script tag, and comment dot add event listener. We will be we will be logging event dot detail into the console. So now let's refresh the page. If you need to see whether we have this event listener on the DOM, you can also see the event listener in the elements panel. You just need to press the ancestors. It will show all the event listeners on the elements that are present on the top of this element. So here you can see that variant updated is present right here. This is present on the DOM, so it is present right here. Variant updated, and we can add a debugger point right here. And whenever we change the variant, we get the variant updated event is triggered right from here, and we can add the E. It is the custom event, and event has this detail. Okay, event detail has the variant ID like this. We were logging the event.detail onto the console. If we press play button, you can see that variant ID is present right here. And now we have the variant ID. We can also we actually need the product URL, variant ID, and the section ID. So because we have already added this script into the product page, product.liquid, we can get the liquid product URL like this. const URL section. The name of the section is this one. We can copy it right from here. Variant ID. We get the variant ID by using this key. And now we have the URL like this. We will paste the product URL, and after that we need to have the variant ID and the section ID. We can paste it right here and update the variant ID. With this, and the section ID is this one. Now let's console log the URL. So whenever we update the variant, we are getting this URL right here. So we can just paste this URL to see the updated information. The white variant had this 1 to 3 weeks, and this variant has 2 to 4 weeks. Now we need to make the request to this URL. So to get the request, in this theme, in most of the themes, you will be able to get the format of the request by just looking into the section ID. If we global search the section ID, you can see that this theme is actually making a lots of different section rendering API calls. So if we search for the section ID, you can see that on cart update, we are getting this request, and can get the idea like how we can make the request and how we can get the data from this request. So I will just copy right from here and update and add it right here. So you can see that we have the URL right now, and we will just update the URL, and whenever we get the response, we will make the text out of response, and after that we will make the HTML from this text. And for now, just console log the updated HTML on the console. So whenever we change the variant, you can see that this is the updated HTML that we get. And from the updated HTML, we just need to get the inner text of this ID, const updated delivery text. We will HTML dot get element by ID. So the pattern is like this. This is the section ID that we used, and it is getting this Shopify section in the start. So we have the updated delivery text, and we can log it onto the console. And if we refresh the page now, and okay, I will remove the debugger point that is actually present. And on the console, I will clear all the information and change the variant. You can see that we are getting the updated information, and we can just update this information right here. So we can give this div an ID. Delivery text, and we can get the inner HTML of this section, and update the inner HTML of this element with the updated delivery text. And here is how we can use the section rendering API to change the information on the page. So if we select, then okay, basically we are getting the undefined. So here is the bug. Maybe we can go to this area, and here we can add a debugger point and see what we get. We can make the debugger point right here. And on the console, we have this one. We try to get the inner HTML. Yes, there is a spelling mistake. Inner HTML is all capital. So if we write like this, it will give us undefined because there is no property like with the small TML. So we need to create this HTML like this. The refresh page, actually I will remove the debugger point right from there. Okay, the debugger point was already removed. So in the console, if we clear the console and update the variant, you can see that the expected delivery is updating whenever we change the variant. 1 to 3, 2 to 4, 3 to 5, 1 to 3, and yes, this is all we need to make the section rendering API in use. So I hope you learned something new in this video. So if you have any of the questions, please let me know. I'll be happy to help you. Thank you.
Hey guys, if you have watched this video so far, it means that you liked this video. So this video was the part of my course that I created for the Shopify theme developers. So this was a preview video from my course. You can see the more real world projects in this course. I will share the link. You can get enrolled in this course. So the price is only $20. So you can message me on WhatsApp or email me to get the full course where we learn all these concepts: section rendering API, web components, JavaScript debugging, JavaScript events and DOM breakpoints, network call debugging, Shopify Cart API, and we learn all these concepts by creating all these real world projects. So I hope you will like the whole course also. So you can message me to get enrolled. Thank you.